some light by the end of the tunnel, and the UN broker talks on ending armed chaos in Libya continued for a second day in Geneva after promising start. How I can describe what's going on as promising, or to describe the start as promising?
You know, peace negotiations normally start in a very promising way. But I do not see any light in the end of the tunnel for Libya particularly. You know, we have at least 20 million pieces of armament in the hands of militias. And, you know, all the warehouses that contain the armament that President Gaddafi had are in the hands of the militias right now. I don't think that you can solve the Libyan problem in isolation and just ignore what's happening on the ground. I think...
and this was my coming question. People sitting on tables in negotiations and in Geneva, and at a time that people are killed and kidnapped in Libya, of course, because of the oil, because of this, I would say, blessing and cursing at the same time. The intervention, is it required now? And if it is required, by whom? Arabs should do something, or we should ask the international community to intervene, and then to repeat what happened with the NATO, I would say, failed campaign to stabilize Libya, because what's going on in Libya now, I would say it's the fruitful result of the NATO campaign in Libya.
I'm not a military expert, but I would see that a multiple nationality force could be deployed actually. I think the UN should issue a declaration that Algeria should just do something on the borders between Libya and Algeria. Chad should do the same thing. Tunisia do the same thing.
It's a little bit tiny in, if I'm going to compare with Algeria, but still.
They do not have the military capabilities to perform what is required, but I think Libya needs to be swapped like a laser beam, just to make sure that nobody has any armament in his hand. You know, there is no law, there is no security, there is no nothing. It's like the Wild West. Right, it's a very liquid situation, and I think. But unfortunately, we have already a situation because the rich oil area is right next to Egypt. And we love to give a hand to our brothers in Libya, but would this be understood by the U.S. if we actually do something? Would this be appreciated by the U.S.?
So what about drawing the sources of terror? I mean, we knew, and it was very much clear and obvious and declared, announced that Qatar and Turkey did something, and it's still doing something. Who is buying the oil? Who is training the Daesh militants? Who is financing them?
The party who's buying the Libyan oil is the same party that is buying the Syrian oil from Daesh.
Okay, it's not who is buying, who is facilitating, who is the broker?
Who is the expert who's running the production, the loadout of the tankers.
How the refineries are working.
This is a plan. You see, no wonder that the oil prices went down, because actually you're buying stolen oil from Syria and from Libya, and the amount of oil produced by these two countries every day in the minimum conditions is not less than 1 million barrels a day.
I would say millions of barrels.
A million barrels a day. So they have a good income. On top of all this, the Libyans actually took over almost their central bank. So actually Gaddafi's reserves in Libya,
it's in their hands now.
Right. So actually they have the cash and they have the oil, and
nobody is there to resist them. I myself, when I was reviewing this situation, since when it was the very last time I've heard about Khalifa Haftar, about his operations, about what's going on the Libyan soil.
Well, I think General Khalifa Haftar went to Tripoli, and ever since he went to Tripoli, the lines of communications became very long. He started in Benghazi, but he had to go for maybe a strategic reason to Tripoli because this is the capital. But I think Khalifa Haftar requires a lot of support. I think we need a good plan, maybe adopted by the African Union, right? This will look better than the Arab League, especially the Africans have an experience, previous experience in similar situations elsewhere. So,
in many places, to be accurate. And since you have mentioned the Arab League, sir, the Arab League was busy with something else yesterday. So from the Gulf today, we read what happened in the headquarters of the Arab League downtown Cairo. The Arab League pushes for a new draft. The Arab League said it will seek to shore up international support to another attempt to obtain a UN resolution on ending Israel's occupation of the Palestinian land. The decision at a gathering of Arab foreign ministers in Cairo came after Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas asked them for another chance following the UN Security Council rejection of last bid in December. Okay. Whenever it comes to the international community, whenever it comes to the UN Security Council, in relation to the Israelis and the Israeli occupation and aggression and offensive against the Palestinians, it's deaf and dumb. But here, why Abbas is asking for another chance? Why are we thinking that tomorrow is going to be better? Or this time the UN is going to do something for the sake of the Palestinians? I can see a better chance.
I think we will never give up on this issue. If we give up on this issue, this will give Israel the chance that they've always looked for. But I think what should happen, the Arab League should persuade Hamas to declare a ceasefire, a limited ceasefire for 6 months. Complete ceasefire. And during the 6 months, Hamas and Fatah should really work together and negotiate with Israel. What do they want? Because once Hamas will declare to the international community that we are no longer attacking Israel, there is no point in Israel attacking us. We are declaring a ceasefire from one side, and we need to sit down and talk about it. This will improve the situation for us internationally, because every time Abu Mazen reaches an agreement with John Kerry or with Israel, and we see light in the end of the tunnel, Hamas comes up with something, because two parties or three parties that do not want to see this dispute over. Israel, Hamas, and a common friend to everybody.
And this is also to give an excuse for Israel all the time to say who we are going to negotiate with, even there are internal strifes between the Palestinian factions or among the Palestinian factions.
I think the Arab League should have a strong idea, a good idea, solid, very creative, something different that will attract the attention of the international community.
We have 1 minute and one headline to comment on. The Daily Star says U.S. will send 400 troops to train moderate Syrian opposition. Do you see this as a positive sign or a negative sign? Here is America proving that it's an ally to moderate opposition to fight terrorism, or is it to incite more strife among the Syrians?
Well, there is a lot of doubts concerning the American, stand in regard of Syria. I think the helpless opposition, Syrian opposition, doesn't really have much choice. They're going to have to go along with the offer of the U.S., hoping that this will give them an excuse to ask for more armament, and if they get the proper training, they might do something. But the whole idea is, again, if Russia and the U.S. decide that President Bashar al-Assad will cease fire again for a year, and he will invite everybody to a neutral place like Geneva, and everybody will discuss it, and in the end of the day, they will have free elections supervised by the international community, and surprising Mr. President Bashar al-Assad might win again.
Yes.
So the Syrians will lose the case, but they need to talk and they need to understand they are on the verge of losing their country once and for all. That there will be a state for Kurds established very soon. The Turkey.
Alawite Shiites, Peshmerga on the side and the Syrian army on another. And
so actually, they need to be wise. If they love their country, they need to have a better understanding for this situation.
Engineer Hassan Shahban, thank you very much for being with us, sir.
Thank you for inviting me. Appreciate it.
Dear viewers, by this we come to the end of this episode of the World Today. Till we meet again same time on Nile TV International. Many thanks for watching. This is Nami Abdurrahman signing off.